Let's bring in Ohio Congressman and Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan. Good to see you as always, Congressman.
Good to be with you, Chris.
I'll get to the preamble here in a minute. But after nearly a decade, members of the Obama regime are finally having to answer for what the Durham report said they did. The Obamagate Russia collusion hoax conspiracy. You are referring former CIA Director John Brennan to the DOJ for prosecution over allegedly lying to Congress in 2017 and 2023. Is this the beginning of real accountability?
Well, we'll see. What I do know is you're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath talking to the United States Congress. And it looks like that's exactly what Mr. Brennan did. He told the committee, I was not involved with the dossier at all. He said that he didn't want it referenced in the intelligence community assessment. But then when ODNI Director Gabbard declassified the House Intelligence Committee's report, it said something entirely different. It said John Brennan did want the dossier referenced in the intelligence community assessment. In fact, there's a story. One of the CIA people confronted Mr. Brennan and said, hey, there's no real evidence that the intelligence used to develop this dossier was any good. This looks like garbage. And John Brennan's response, according to another CIA official, was, yeah, but doesn't it ring true? He wanted to get President Trump. That's what we have in our letter, because that's what Tulsi Gabbard, when she declassified this report, we were able to get. So that's why we're referring him. We don't do this often, only when the evidence truly supports it, and it looks like it does in this case, and that's why we referred him to the Justice Department.
Really quickly, you said it was classified. Is it illegal in the United States to classify something that should never have been classified to begin with, just to hide it from the American people? Is that against the law?
If that motive was there, certainly. We don't know if that was the motive or why it was why it was initially classified, and then, of course, Tulsi Gabbard then declassified it. We don't know. Here's the other thing I think is important when you think about Mr. Brennan. I think this is part of a pattern. We also included in our letter, in this referral letter to the Justice Department back in 2017, when it looks to me like he lied to Trey Gowdy, then a member of Congress, when Trey asked him questions about the dossier. And then, of course, we were deposing Mr. Brennan last Congress when we were looking at the 51 former intel officials who signed that letter, which said the Hunter Biden laptop was part of a Russian information operation, which was all garbage. So there's this pattern of not being square with the American people and not being square with the Congress. And we think that's all important, too. The context is all important when you look at Mr. Brennan's actions, how he Congress misled the country. And I think the irony is not lost on anyone. We were checking him out about the 51 former intel officials and that misstatement, or I think stuff that wasn't true given to the American people. And in fact, in that deposition, he lied to us about the dossier from clear back in 2016.
Yeah. You know, it has been confirmed that multiple grand juries have been convened looking into the Obamagate Russia collusion hoax conspiracy. How broad do you believe the Obamagate conspiracy is?
Well, this is when it all began, back in 2015, 2016. Never forget the basics. They took the dossier that was put together by the Clinton campaign when they hired the law firm Perkins Coie, who hired Fusion GPS, who hired the foreigner Christopher Steele, who wrote the garbage document. They used that garbage document. They put it in the ICA, as we found out today. They also used it to go to the secret court to get the warrant to spy on President Trump's campaign. And then they did all this. They used all that and changed all the intelligence community assessment in December of 2016 before President Trump is sworn in as in his first term. And then they go up to Trump Tower early January 2017 and talk to President Trump about the intelligence community assessment and specifically about the dossier that they know is garbage. So they did. This is what all began, and that's why I think it's important that you hold these individuals accountable, because it all started back then, almost a decade ago, when they began this attack on, and we know all the things that happened afterward. There was the special counsel, there was Alvin Bragg, Bonnie Willis, Jack Smith, two assassinations, all the stuff that took place, all the stuff that went after President Trump on. But it began back here with Brennan, Clapper, and Comey. And now, again, I think we have strong evidence that John Brennan was not square with the United States Congress when he was under oath.
Okay, last thing I have for you. Let's pivot to the shutdown. Word is the Republican Party is looking at shoveling more of our taxpayer dollars, more good money after bad, into the insurance companies in the Obamacare model, a failed model. The Democrats are saying it's failed. Now that guys like Mitch McConnell and others who reportedly stopped the Republican Party from introducing free market health care solutions, now that they're gone, they're going away, what do you think? You think the Republicans might see their way clear to stop doubling down on stupid, on Obamacare, and actually restore America's health care system rather than, again, throwing more of our taxpayer money after bad?
Yeah, let's focus on bringing down costs. The way you do that is more health savings accounts, and more focus on that, or more focus on high deductible plans where people can choose and get. Most families, I think, particularly families starting out, they just want to know if their son or daughter gets, or someone in their family gets a real tough illness, that there's going to be insurance there to cover that. So I think that's where we really want to have the focus. But what I always point out about Obamacare is everything they told us about Obamacare turned out to be false. Remember when they said if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. They told us premiums will go down. President Obama even said premiums will go down on average $1,500. Well, none of that stuff worked out. And it was so bad they said, well, we're going to expand it. Then we're going to increase it. Then we're going to do the increase. We're going to expand it again, the increase we already did. And that's where we're at now. And why don't we go to things that actually will lower premiums and help families? So I hope that's where we'll focus. That's certainly where I want to focus.
Yeah, and the Democrats are saying now that they've failed and screwed up the entire healthcare system, trust them. Let's all go single payer. Bernie Sanders is out there saying that. Congressman Jim Jordan, thank you very much. Appreciate the time as always, sir. Straight ahead on the Chris Salcedo Show, an appeals court rules the National Guard can be deployed to the lawless leftist city of Portland, we discuss. Plus, one violent Illinois state teaching assistant suffers the consequences after letting his inner left-winger show, flipping a Turning Point USA table on campus. We'll tell you what happened to this guy. And later, big political donor pressure on Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa in the New York City mayoral race. So why is a Democrat donor supporting him? Don't miss a minute of Newsmax.
Join with me in prayer.
You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.